Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and are people finally waking up to the left-right paradigm? One would hope so. I'm not, really getting too excited about that because obviously there's a long way to go because people will fall for what makes them comfortable. But I wrote on X at World Alt Media. By the way, go follow us there. Everyone, hey, can we get justice for Epstein's child trafficking and blackmail network? Trump? Nah, but we can send weapons to Ukraine and raise the national debt. MAGA. This is exactly what we're dealing with. This insane flip, which shouldn't surprise those of you that are watching World Alternative Media. But of course, if you're watching the mainstream alternative media, then of course a lot of people are going, "What on earth is happening?" It's insanity what we're witnessing right now, and it's the obvious example of that blackmail, of that subversion, of the fact that government is organized crime, and no matter who's in charge, it'll always still remain the same. And that while people say not voting is sitting on your hands. No, voting is sitting on your hands because you're sitting on your hands waiting for someone else to do something for you to fix the problems they created in the first place. It's absurd. As Trump is pushing to split Lebanon into multiple different countries alongside Israel, as we see the arming of Ukraine, as we see this cover up of Epstein, and people in the Trump media and those that support Trump going absolutely crazy, going, what the hell is going on? Well, if they watched us a while ago, back in like 2015, when he announced that he was running, you would have heard us talking about how he was a Trojan horse to bring in all this kind of stuff. But anyway, we're going to get into this and more, what exactly he's doing lately that just totally breaks apart from his so-called message, whatever that means, though it changes with the season. We're going to go into that and more today, my friends. Before we do, I urge people to check those links below and help support us if you can. We cannot survive without you. Thank you to those who've donated. We have lost 90% of our income since January, when we were already going bankrupt, because we dare to refuse to speak alongside the mainstream alternative narrative, or the mainstream narrative. We refuse to be inconsistent. We want to tell the truth, and because of that, we're getting punished. We're getting deranked by major alternative streaming sites. So you guys are the only thing keeping us up and running. We appreciate any help we can get. GoGetFunding.com, Patreon, and Subscribestar. If you pledge $4.99 a month or more, you'll get exclusive content, including early access to content. We have the same thing on X at World Alt Media if you subscribe there. We have, of course, our PayPal address, ancientwonderstelevision@gmail.com. We have this Bitcoin address, which you can scan on the screen here or donate to via the link or the address in the description. We also have a Cointree link with a bunch of different cryptocurrencies that you could donate in, if you please, including privacy coins. So we appreciate any help we can get. And of course, you could subscribe on Rumble and BitChute at World Alternative Media. Now let's get into this, my friends. So as I wrote at World Alt Media, hey, as everyone says, can we get justice for Epstein's child trafficking and blackmail network? Trump says, no, we can send weapons to Ukraine and raise the national debt. MAGA. We are dealing with the most obvious bait and switch. This was always a Trojan horse. You knew he was a snake before you let him in. A line that Trump has said many times, but actually really does pertain to the way he works. The Manhattan liberal that was friends with Epstein and Clinton. White House acknowledges memo stating Epstein died by suicide. No blackmail list exists. First of all, the list is a bunch of videos. The videos are owned by Israel. And of course, they're not going to release their blackmail information because that would destroy the whole narrative that they've been setting up while people believe in the Trojan horse and the hopium surrounding Trump. Now, on top of that, of course, he's likely very much involved, considering he was friends with Epstein and was involved in a lawsuit alongside Epstein. As a defendant, so was Epstein, against a 12-year-old girl that pressed charges against him many, many years ago. None of this should surprise anyone. It's Israeli blackmail. So why would they release it? Epstein was a character. We've gone into this in our video called Trump Epstein Cover-Up Exposed in depth, which you could check out if you want. But again, this is how they get the narratives around the world to work. They lobby and they blackmail to keep the state in a line of complete compliance with the shadow government. Trump berates reporter for Epstein inquiry during cabinet briefing. He's saying things like, why are we still talking about Epstein? This creep He says, we've been talking about it for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all these things. Yeah, these things that the federal government and the CIA and Mossad created, like weather modification. But anyway, we have all these things, he says. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste time? And do you feel like answering? And I mean, again, Bondi said, I don't mind answering, but I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at the time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It seems like a desecration, but you go ahead. No, we care about children being trafficked, thousands of children being trafficked, raped, and left for dead in many cases. One of the main things you ran on, not that presidents have any power. This is just a further example of it. He was sitting, by the way, across the table from Netanyahu during this. So, I mean, well, you can kind of do the math there. Trump supporters cry foul after DOJ memo buries the Epstein sex trafficking scandal. Attempts to squelch fallout from the DOJ FBI memo comes after a tsunami of criticism online, not from detractors on the left, but from Donald Trump's most ardent supporters. And of course, you have people in alternative media. Like, I don't know what the deal is with, I mean, Alex Jones put out a video and he rightly broke down. He was like, I can't believe this is happening. Well, I mean, it was pretty obvious it was going to happen because Trump is the prey of Israel. He is on his knees to Israel. He pushes in the chair for Netanyahu. It's pretty obvious he gets a golden beeper. He spends the largest military budget in history, $1 trillion on defending Israel, attacking Iran, and creating the Greater Israel Project, going after Palestine, annexing it, and now annexing, by the way, Lebanon. At least he's trying to. It was obvious that he was blackmailed from the beginning, but Alex did an interview with Judge Joe Brown, where Joe Brown claimed that, oh yeah, this is just some bait and switch. It's not exactly what it appears. It's 1,500 D chess. They are basically, it's reverse blackmail. They're using the blackmail that they have on the US and then turning it around on Israel and saying that they're going to release Israeli information, the blackmail they have on politicians of the US if they don't. I mean, it's totally so ridiculous. It's like worse than QAnon times 10. I mean, it's so sit on your hands, be apathetic, do nothing kind of attitude. And this isn't a direct attack on Alex Jones. It's an attack on the idea that was brought up, which is so patently absurd. That in any way, shape, or form, we're dealing with some reverse 1,000 D chess blackmail operation against Israel. No, that's nonsense. Just like when everyone in alternative media was saying, oh, Trump and Netanyahu are actually on the falling out and he's going after Netanyahu. No, he isn't. No, he fucking isn't. Look, and then they go to the Middle East. Trump goes to Saudi Arabia and people go, see, he's making a deal with them against the Israelis. So they all work together. How are we still not understanding this? Presidents don't have power. All these countries work together. There's a shadow government. And then he makes an AI deal with all these guys, and Sam Altman and Larry Fink of BlackRock and Alex Karp of Palantir, and then creates this database and creates AI militarism and AI jobs, AI employment, and all this kind of stuff. Goes back and then signs a big, beautiful bill, signs $3.3 trillion more into the deficit, a very important number, by the way, and includes a Skynet feature in the big, beautiful bill. Also, the funding of sex changes for children. So that was also in the big, beautiful bill. So again, what are people going on about here? It all remains the same. It all remains the same. And then immediately goes to war with Iran, and then claims that he stopped the war, even though he's the guy who bombed them in the first place, and also gave the Hellfire missiles to Israel to attack Iran preemptively. And of course, Trump was the guy who killed Soleimani, the Iranian general, back in January 2020 in Iraq, and continued countless wars that Obama and Bush were involved in. Dropped a huge amount of drone bombs, banned the tallying of drone bombs dropped by a president. I mean, this isn't new. This has been obvious for many years. I don't know where people were in the first administration and where people were with the rhetoric he said even before the first administration, where people were during the last 4 years. All they were distracted by was this fake witch hunt where they went after him and arrested him and they claimed they shot at him. All of that was a distraction from the reality of what he was actually doing, what he was planning, who he is part of, how he is part of this Trojan horse mechanism. Same with Elon Musk with his America Party and all of this to bring in a global technocracy, which he's actively doing. So it's just this idea that all these people that for years knew that presidents didn't have power and that elections were fake are now suddenly like, oh, well, it's different this time. But now when Trump does all this terrible stuff, then they switch back and they go, oh, well, either it's 1 million D chess or it's they're trying to attack him. The deep state's trying to attack him and do all this stuff against him. He does not have power. He is just a guy with a bad haircut who stands in front of a podium and says things. That's not a power. That's not someone that runs the free world, what you call the free world anyway, which is a laughing stock as it is. So are you still talking about Epstein? Yes. The guy who worked as an agent for Israel to blackmail everyone. Yes. The children that are victims. Yes. Justice might be something important. He's going to do the same thing with Big Pharma later. He's going to do the same thing with the injections later. And RFK Jr. is already doing that, telling everyone to go and get their MMR shot for measles. So, I mean, again, it's all bait and switch. And meanwhile, Netanyahu nominates Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize. Trump pledges to send more weapons to Ukraine. In the same speech, Netanyahu, who is a war criminal and has the blood of hundreds of thousands of people on his hands, nominates Trump, who is actively bombing multiple countries right now, for a peace prize. And in the same speech, Trump pledges more weapons to Ukraine and talks about how he had previously, according to these memos, threatened to bomb Moscow if Putin didn't do as he told him to do. I mean, as he's sitting across from Netanyahu, can you get more ironic than this? Does it get any more ironic than this? I don't think it does. Show me one moment in recent history that's more ironic than this. At the same time, Israel and the US are pursuing a plan to split Lebanon into 3 different countries. Tripoli and surrounding areas will go to Syria. A Christian state in the north, a Muslim state in the south. The ultimate goal being to disband Hezbollah. No, this is obviously, first of all, Hezbollah armed and funded by the West in the first place. This is obviously a way to hand over the region to Israel. Because first of all, Syria was just taken over by Israel. There's CIA documents called Bring Arms to Bear in Syria back in the 1980s about overthrowing Assad and doing the exact same layout and going after the Alawites, Christians, and Sunnis, which is exactly what happened with Jelani, who Trump just recognized and basically dropped all sanctions against, because even though he's an Al-Qaeda boss, even though he was head of HTS, formerly Al-Nusra Front, which Israel arms and funds, and is a supporter of Israel. So obvious. This is an absolute joke. But nonetheless, the perpetuation of the Greater Israel Project. Ron Paul, who is a friend of our show and someone that I really respect, did a show, and he does the Liberty Report, of course, and he says, in a bizarre day in which we learned that there actually is no Epstein client list after being promised its release, Trump one-upped his hapless administration and announced that he was turning his back on one of the most important planks of his platform, Ukraine. With Netanyahu at his side, he announced that he would be sending weapons to Ukraine after all, and that he is ending sanctions in Al-Qaeda-ruled Syria at the request of the Israeli prime minister. Also today, the U.S. to spend $1.5 billion building military bases in Israel. Yeah. MAGA, right? Make America great. More like MAGA. As I wrote on Exit at World Alt Media, I said what we've been trying to warn people about long before day one, because government doesn't magically stop being organized crime. The president doesn't hold power. They're figureheads. I've been trying to explain this to people for 19 years. So frustrating. And people will still say, well, Trump is going to stop war in Iran, which he started in the first place. And Trump is going to do this. First of all, no, it's not Trump anyway on either side of this. The 7-country plan was written long ago. The overall goal for the region was written long ago, and the artificial shift from the west to the east has been happening for a very long time. The Trilateral Commission has been involved in that, working with China, propping them up. I mean, it's pretty obvious. And people in the mega alternative media, the mainstream alternative media, are freaking out suddenly. Patrick Bet-David wrote, free Ghislaine Maxwell? Yeah, because if Epstein didn't do anything, then why is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison? Who are they trafficking if it's no one? Hodge Twins wrote, Cat Turd hates that Gunter is waking up. Gunter Eagleman wrote on X, is the Comey investigation a distraction from the Epstein files? Which Cat Turd responded, what the fuck are you doing? Like, they are so entrenched in the cult. And we're seeing it across the board. Cat Turd is just a ridiculous, like MK Ultra level boomer mentality from the 60s. Philip Anderson wrote, the White House is telling certain influencers to remind everyone that Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt in response to demands for the Epstein files and mass deportations. So if you get shot at, you can just break any promises you make. Really? See, people are getting pissed, and this is a good one. So Trump supporters are dumping their MAGA merch. First of all, it's really, really gay to have silk shorts with Trump on them. But anyway, or Trump underwear, like, guys, super gay. But this guy says, I do not support Trump anymore. He's part of the deep state. I do not support Israel. He's committing genocide as we speak. Yeah, well, I'm glad people are waking up better late than never. But I mean, where were people in the first administration? It's like they forgot because they got distracted with that 4-year period, which was part of the agenda to bring in the Trojan horse, where he was getting arrested and getting a mugshot, and all this stuff was happening, and the January 6th stuff to push people to be pissed off so that he would release the January 6ers. Another one here, burning my MAGA hats, this guy says, as he lights his hats on fire. Again, all symbolic, but it's also symbolic of the end of an empire. I mean, this is all by design. It's about demoralizing society and bring society to its knees. You first have to do it from the inside out. And I saw the same thing with Obama. Our friend Carrie Wedler, who we've, of course, talked to many times. I've done a lot of events with her. Awesome person. She was famous for burning her Obama shirt. But keep in mind, that was like over 15 years ago. And it's so weird. I mean, look, I respect everyone waking up now, but like, where have people been this whole time? We were called black-pilled and negative and told to shut up, and we lost almost everything we own, no money, bankrupted, shut down on most platforms. Almost no one defended us. There's some out there that are watching right now that did, but generally we were just shut out and told to shut up and stay quiet by the people in mainstream alternative media, what they called alternative media all these years. People like Luke Rudowski of We Are Change and Tim Pool told us to be quiet, told us that we're crazy, told us that we are extreme, all this kind of stuff, negative, black-pilled, whatever it might be. Because we're not latching on to money opportunities like them. Like when I was offered a $1 million gig a year to host a network show, and I turned them down because I want to be able to sleep at night. I don't want to say things that other people tell me to say. And, you know, we mentioned January 6ers. This is one. He follows me, the lectern guy. He's actually a pretty nice guy. So he was a guy who famously carried the lectern on January 6th. And he says, I can't believe I served more time in federal prison for moving a lectern than any of Epstein's clients. I wrote on X. This post says everything about how fucked up the United States is. Carry lectern, straight to jail. Traffic children for Israel to gather blackmail. And I quote, why are we still talking about Epstein? Do you want to waste time? Signed, Trump. And just like that, as expected, no justice was served. Mike Adams wrote, have you yet come to realize that no one of any significance is going to be prosecuted by the Trump administration? Not Brennan, not Comey, not Mayorkas, not Fauci, not the Biden family, no one. Amazing how gullible people have become now, believing the look squirrel announcement that Brennan and Comey are referred for possible prosecution. It's just a distraction from the Epstein files fiasco. Nothing will come of it. The rule of law is dead in America. We are witnessing the last chapter of a failed empire. I agree. And it was all by design. Jason Bassler wrote, Then we told them that Epstein killed himself, had no clients, and gaslit them for continuing to talk about it, showing J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, Trump, Schumer, Kamala, Obama, and Joe Biden all drinking beer and cheering in the meme, AI meme. Ben Shapiro, this complete scumbag, says on a list of American priorities by the polls, the Epstein-Maxwell case comes in pretty close to zero. So again, well, he's covering for his Mossad handlers. There's still those in the mainstream alternative media. Why does anyone, can you imagine watching an entire episode of Ben Shapiro? Oh yeah, he shut down some college student on video a few times that was woke. Who fucking cares? Anyone could do that. A 5-year-old could do that. It's a woke college student. They're the dumbest people. That's what makes him famous. That's what makes him smart. He's a Mossad tool, in my opinion. He said, we love the men and women of the CIA. He supported the Iraq war. He supported the Iran war. He supports mass murdering Palestinians. He is one of the biggest neocon statists out there. And he has said before he would love for Netanyahu to be president of the United States. Well, he already is. he already is. If it wasn't already totally apparent. Presidents don't have power. Government is organized crime. Taxation is theft. The same things I've been saying for 19 years, and people act like now, oh, why is he coming out against Trump? Why am I coming out against Trump? I'm coming out against the establishment, which I've always come out against for the last 19 years, as I did with Bush, as I did with Obama, as I did with Trump, as I did with Biden, as I'm doing with Trump, as I will when all the mainstream alternative medias forget that they were going after Trump for all this insanity and the deep state and all this kind of stuff, and will then say, but J.D. Vance learned his lesson, so let's vote for him in 2028. Blatantly obvious how they're setting that up. Let's just paint J.D. Vance as a nice guy now, and that he's not the same as Trump, and he's going to actually take down the deep state. That's what they're going to say. And I hope people are ready for that psyop, because that's getting real close to 2030, where the agenda comes very close to its tipping point. Anyway, we do our best to get that information out there. We do our best to tell the truth and make sure that we hold people to account in mainstream and mainstream alternative media. Right now, I talk more about mainstream alternative media because no one watches mainstream media. Mainstream alternative medias are the new thing that everyone watches, and they are the ones that are, misleading people the most right now, because they're the new CNN, they're the new Anderson Cooper, they're the new one that manipulates the public into a new narrative to, we have one road that goes this way, that's the mainstream, and then we have the alternative media. It branches off and then it comes back together because all roads lead to Rome. And so we need to call that out so people don't fall for it. So we don't go in this perpetual circle, this Operation Mockingbird type circle. Anyways, my friends, in the face of all this, I hope people can come out and help and support us if possible. We cannot survive without you. We have GoGetFunding.com campaigns. They're all many years old. I can't Go Get Funding won't let me create a new campaign. So it looks like I just have a ton of money in these, but they're many, many years old. And we've had a lot of help over those many, many years. So, but anyway, GoGetFunding.com, Patreon and Subscribestar, $4.99 a month or more on Patreon or Subscribestar, or exit at World Alt Media, and you'll get exclusive content. We try to post as much as we can as far as exclusive content. We will also be posting content where we answer your questions on video, so I hope people sign up for that as well. We have a PayPal address, ancientwonderstelevision@gmail.com. We have a Bitcoin address that you can scan on the screen here, if you please, or check out the address in the description in the text form. We have a Cointree link with a bunch of different cryptocurrencies that you could donate in, if you please, including privacy coins. So we truly appreciate that as well. And we have a Teespring link with a bunch of different merchandise that you could purchase and help support us as well. Get prepared by going to heavensharvest.com for long-term storable food that's non-GMO. There's organic kits, heirloom seeds, water filtration and storage, and books on how to get started. Use code WAM, WAM, and you will get free shipping, as well as 5% off on your order. This is very important going forward as a solution to what we've been talking about today, because if you don't just bow to politics, instead you look to where the direction of this is going: global technocracy, digital IDs, social credit, food rations. Then you know to get prepared this way is the best way to ensure that you have independence in the future, which is the basis of freedom, the basis of humanity. It's synonymous. We also have whambeef.com for 10 plus year shelf life freeze-dried steak, 12 servings per bag. There's also freeze-dried chicken and ground beef as well. Use code WHAMBEEF, WAMBEEF, all one word, and you will get 20% off on your order. So highly recommend this. Guaranteed no mRNA, no lab-grown meat, all American beef that's 100% natural. We have a bunch of health-related links, but since I'm posting this one on YouTube, which I don't urge people to watch on, you should be on Rumble or BitChute. But because I'm posting it on YouTube to try and reach people, I can't mention any health-related links we have. So you have to go find those on Rumble and BitChute. Of course, we have ways to help farmers while helping yourself by checking out our link for Wild Pastures. Get 20% off your life plus $15 off your first box of 100% grass-fed and finished beef, pasture-raised pork, pasture-raised chicken, wild-caught seafood, no mRNA, no GMOs, hormones, antibiotics, steroids, feedlots, pesticides, or chemicals of any kind, all raised on regenerative family farms in 48 U.S. states, delivered to your door, temperature-controlled and customizable as you see fit. Again, using that link, you save money, you save your health versus what's on the grocery store shelves, and of course, you help your local farmers who are in need of help, most definitely at this moment. So go and check that out below. Also, avoid that CBDC system. Go and check out firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult/ and buy physical gold, silver, platinum, or palladium there. You can hold it in your hands, put it in a vault, put it in an IRA outside of the traditional IRA system, and schedule an appointment for a free consultation with Mark Gonzalez and a complimentary investors package. Mark is a good friend of ours. We do many videos with him. Let him know in the comments of the forum that you found him at World Alternative Media, or WAM, WAM. We appreciate any help we can get, my friends. You can find us on Telegram, Rockfin, Band.video, BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, and Brighteon at World Alternative Media. We're on Hive, Steemit, and Vigilante.tv at Josh Sigurdson, and on the Bad Guys TikTok and Instagram, World Alternative Media, Twitter and Getter at World Alt Media, and all the major podcast platforms except for Spotify, where, of course, we're banned. Hit that like button, share on social media, hit the notification bell, and hit subscribe if you have not yet already, my friends. And until next time, live freely, live by example. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.